Join me as I explore the southern end of Taiwan's east coast. I'll delve into the rich Paiwan indigenous culture, visit their fascinatingly unique churches, and soak in the stunning scenery that draws travelers from across Taiwan and around the world.
Quit together. Don't do it alone. I just realized I'm making fun of this, but I think it's about alcoholism. So maybe do quit. So I'm here at the Millennium Dawn Park in Tamale. It's basically the park that they have at the beach. This city, Tamale, it's the last city on the east coast, right? So you go any further south from here, there's maybe some little towns, but no more major town, like cities. I think calling Tamale a city is probably a stretch. I think it's got a population of about 10,000. One thing that's quite interesting about this town is that it's got, of any of the major settlements, the largest population of indigenous people. One thing you'll notice when you're in Paiwan areas with this large numbers of Paiwan people is a motif around snakes. And there's a lot of different mythologies apparently that have come from the Paiwan people, but they all tend to revolve around snakes. One of the stories involves the fact that God placed a shoot of bamboo on a rock, and the bamboo grew out of the rock. When a storm came through the area, lightning hit the stick of bamboo and the rock split, and from that rock came the first woman. When another storm came through the area, it created a serpent, a snake. The woman ate the snake and became pregnant, and then gave birth to the first Paiwan boy. Another story tells of the sun laying eggs in a pot, which is like the thing over there, and the serpents were to look after the eggs in the pot, and from that pot were born the first of the Paiwan people. So there's quite a few different little stories and mythologies that the Paiwan people have, but they all revolve around the snake, which is quite interesting. It shows you that this imagery of snakes is quite important in their culture. And as we sort of travel down, we'll probably see more of these snake motifs. So this city of Tamale, like I probably said before, is the last major settlement on the coast. And basically, if you go up that way towards Taidong, there's the Huadong Valley, which is a huge expanse. It's a pretty good portion of flat land in between two mountain ranges, right? But now that we're down this far south, there's very little flat land left, right? And basically until you get to the end of the peninsula, there's no massive portions of flat land, right? So this settlement is the last little bay, really. Bay? What would you call that? Cove? Bay? Of flat land in between these very sort of imposing mountain ranges that just come straight out of the ocean. The next place where we'll see a large expanse of flat lands where, you know, people can live and farm and the rest of it is on the west coast. And the fact that these areas on the east coast and in the mountains are where the indigenous Formosan people live tells you a lot about the story of the colonization of Taiwan. Basically, Taiwan, up until about the 1500s, was inhabited predominantly by whose cultures are more similar to the Pacific Islanders, the Polynesian people, than they are to, you know, the people of mainland Asia, than they are to the Chinese or the Japanese, right? And it was only really in the 1600s that large numbers of Chinese migrants started moving to Taiwan, and it was actually during a period where the Dutch ruled parts of the west coast of Taiwan. They had colonial forts, and large numbers of people from Fujian migrated over. And those immigrants from Fujian would fight with the indigenous Taiwanese, colonize them, and push them off the land, right? And so all of the good farmland, the majority of the good farmland,
on the west coast was eventually taken over by these Fujianese immigrants who would be the ancestors of the largest number of the modern Taiwanese people. But here on the east coast, with the mountains protecting it, and the indigenous people still make up a large proportion of the population, and their cultures are thriving. You might think no one can see you, but the Buddha knows what you're up to. Alright, well, I'm here at the Tamale railway crossing. Now this is famous because of an anime. Apparently it's in an anime, which doesn't really make any sense to me. Like, is the anime based in Taiwan? Or like the characters come to Taiwan, but they just take like the image of this and put it into the anime. It's anime about basketball too. I had to look into it because I saw it on the map. I'm like, what the hell? Anime about basketball, which I didn't think they had animes about basketball. It just reminds me of I was sitting around the break room at an old job I had. It was warehouse work. We're sitting around the break room and one of the guys goes, "Did you guys hear they got a anime about rugby now?" And one of the other guys goes, "Oh, for fuck's sake, bro. What, you gotta do a fucking power up before you score a try or some shit?" This makes me think of that. They go Super Saiyan before they get a slam dunk. I don't know. There it is anyway. You ever seen a Catholic church that looks like that? I've never seen a Catholic church that looks like that. Even in the Philippines, they've all got a sort of like, you know, traditional European style. But all the churches, well, not all of them, but a lot of the churches that the Taiwanese indigenous have built, I really like the style and design of them. They're all quite unique. All got quite interesting designs. So I was talking before about like how the Taiwanese indigenous people are able to express their cultural identity and sort of really have a place here in Taiwan. Well, I just sort of turned up a random street into one of these areas, which is largely Paiwan area, and it's just full of all this iconography that I just find really cool. Like, I got a bunch of people looking at me because I'm some random white dude in town, but who's this fucking idiot walking around with a camera? Jesus Christ, get the fuck out of here, mate. But just a lot of really, really cool iconography, and it's like the primary school here. I filmed it while I was driving up. It's just covered in like designs and indigenous stuff. This is just in the middle of the road. Some fucking Pakia filming. God, get out of here. Look at that. That's awesome. Again, the iconography of the snakes and everything. The pot where the sun's eggs were stored and the snakes looked after them. It's just really cool to see. See, like, this is just a primary school. A primary school with all of this painted onto the side of it.
This is another Catholic church. That is a Catholic church. A Paiwan Catholic church. Really beautiful design. I remember seeing this the first time and I really had to come back. I thought this was in Tamale, so I was going around Tamale trying to find it, but it's out here in Jinlan.
里面好像可以进去。
Doesn't really come up, does it? Huh. Some kind of animal jewels. I tried to be quiet while inside, but I just find it so cool the way, like, you see they got the snake here, the crucifixion, like the mixing of the traditional iconography with the Christian iconography. Like, I've never seen another culture blend all of this Christian stuff together with their own traditions, right? And like, you look at these, just like the blending of styles coming together, like Christian stories being told with this, like, I guess like kind of Chinese looking painting. Kangaroos here. See, I think this must be like Paiwan mythology on the window of a Catholic church. And see, again, Paiwan mythology mixed in. This is fascinating. The snakes overlooking the jar, which had the eggs from the sun. I don't think you'd see anything like this anywhere else in the world. I'm here at the Guoliang tourist railway station. It's not a real railway station. It used to be one though. It's just like a spot. It's very beautiful. I mean, as you can see, the train's coming through the tunnel over here, and obviously, like, people like coming here to take cool photos for like Instagram or whatever, or like family memories, you know. This is a really cool spot.